going to make sure that our team sees it actually live on YouTube because it's slightly delayed. So once we get that green light, I'm going to be able to jump into what we want to talk about today and have a lovely conversation with our friend Hannah. And do we have the thumbs up
Not
yet?
quite.
Not quite. We're almost there. Um, I don't know what else to say. It's a beautiful April 2nd day
All
in
right, you're good.
Colorado. Oh, we're live. Here we go. So, thank you all who are jumping in here on this beautiful Thursday to listen to a conversation with my friend Hannah. Um, for those of you that have not seen my face before, my name is Ross Bowdy. I am the director of our Airbnb midterm division here at Fox Property Management. So I do all things with my team and helping furnish rentals work in the Boulder, Denver metro area. And today we have the infamous, I would say, Hannah Button. She's not going to tolerate me doing that much longer, but who works for Visit Boulder and is in charge of the festival lodging program with Visit Boulder. And so, Hannah, tell us a little bit more about you, about Visit Boulder, and maybe even if there's any background that you want to share that is helpful to for the people to know they're lucky enough to be able to listen to you this morning.
Well, thank you, Ross, and thank you for having me this morning. I know I'm excited to get to talk with you about this very important topic that so many people are curious about right now. So yeah, I am Hannah Button. I work for Visit Boulder. I'm on the marketing team as the destination marketing manager, and I took this project on as a special project when we found out, almost a year, well, about a year ago that
Yeah.
we won the bid to bring the Sundance Film Festival to Boulder for 2027. And we just knew that we needed to build a program around lodging here in Boulder because, well, to start with, there's 3,000 hotel rooms in Boulder city limits, and we knew we would need more than that. So, in order to really bring people to Boulder and keep them in Boulder and the nearby surrounding communities to Boulder, we knew we wanted to do something unique to open up more lodging here. So we started this festival lodging program, and I've been managing that and kind of helping to develop it. And that's really just to boost the inventory that we have for lodging in Boulder. And we knew that using short-term rentals would be one of the best ways to do that. So
Awesome. And, as I think if anyone's on here right now, which I believe there are people watching, who normally listens to a webinar podcast with a property management company on a Thursday morning, this Sundance thing is exciting. There's a lot of things that it's bringing to our community that's really, really fun. But I think there's a lot of question marks. And so what I really hope is that this conversation can be some of the beginnings of people's clarity of understanding what's happening, what's ahead of them, what's possible for them in the way that they engage
yeah.
with Sundance. And one of the things that you said for 2027, I almost interrupted you and said and beyond,
Yeah.
because this is a 10-year contract
Mhm.
currently, and so it's like I do think this conversation is bigger than just 2027. And
Yeah.
I know from our conversations, you very much agree with that.
Oh yes. Yeah. This is 2027 is just the first year, and we obviously will learn a lot this first year, and
Yeah.
we're building this all from scratch. So as we learn things, we'll just keep improving it. But yes, we wanna do things that are intentional so that it continues to get better each year over the course of the next 10 years and hopefully even beyond that. So
Well, I've got some questions for you, and I know you're excited to answer all
yeah.
of them. So
Yep.
let's jump into some of these questions. The first thing is for people that don't fully understand the scale of Sundance and what it's bringing to the community. Can you talk about the visitors who are coming, the amounts, all that stuff, and why housing plays such an important role for that group?
Yeah, yeah. It is a large group. It's the numbers over the last decade, and when it's been in Park City, the numbers have been between 86,000 and 125,000 attendees. So it varies obviously a little bit year to year. But yeah, those are the numbers that we're looking at over the 11-day festival period. So obviously they are spread out over that period of time. But they're anyone from media to just the general attendee to corporate sponsors or filmmakers or anyone in the film industry. So a broad group of people. And I think, some of the visitation or information that they have from past years is that over 30 different countries are represented
Oh,
in
wow.
those that attend the festival too. So people are coming from around the world. They're coming from around the country, and we also know that about a third of the visitation that's happened in Utah has been out of state. So 2/3 typically come from in-state visitors, and we anticipate a similar trend will happen here in Colorado and in Boulder. So yeah, anticipating a lot of 2/3 of the market or the attendees are going to be driving in or coming from nearby communities. So we're planning for that
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, and especially with Park City being such a small community, to have 50,000 people from Utah, that's just not the residents of Park City.
Right.
That's a lot of people coming in from other parts of the state. So,
Exactly.
um, pardon me. So the way that we got connected was this festival lodging program that you're in charge of, and we were like, hey, what's this? We do this kind of stuff. How do we become involved? And so it's been fun getting to know you guys as we've joined up in this festival lodging program. I think the thing that I would love for you to kind of get out to the world is, why does this program exist, and what is it, and why did they say, Hannah, you look like you have a bunch of extra time for this special project? But like, obviously it is a special project that is important, but I would love for you to kind of speak to the program itself, and what you guys are hoping to do with it.
Yeah. Well, I know that when we launched this program, it was done in tandem with the new festival rental license that the city of Boulder passed in order to allow to have less restrictions around the short-term rentals for the festival period specifically, and to allow more people to be able to rent out their homes that weren't necessarily able to or couldn't qualify under the regular short-term rental license requirements before. So we knew that this program had to be broader though than just the license piece itself, because there's all different types of housing and lodging around Boulder that we can access, and we knew we needed a whole program around that to kind of be all encompassing of all of those options that are out there. And tonight at City Council there'll be a second reading for an addition to this. It's a new ordinance, but it's an
Yeah.
addition to this license that could potentially allow people who have a long-term rental license to also be able to hold this festival short-term rental license at the same time, so that they could participate as well. They just have to work closely with their current tenants to
Yeah.
make sure that both the landlord and the tenant approves of renting out the home. But that's another component. But there's going to be so many other pieces to this program, and we just wanted to make sure that it included everything. And as we started it, and how we started working with you, is we knew that there's going to be so much information that comes out as part of this program. We wanted to make things simpler for homeowners. We didn't want it to seem confusing or just feel like there were too many steps. So we wanted to take one of those steps out of it, which is feeling like you could find a trustworthy property management company to work with, especially if you're renting your home out for the first time and have
Yeah.
never done this before. So we took that step to vet local property managers and list them as approved partners on our website and as part of this program, so that homeowners wouldn't have to worry so much about that piece and could just see this
Yeah.
list of vetted partners, choose the one that fits them the best, and then move forward with the next steps from there. So
That's awesome, because I think what we're seeing out and about when we're going to meet with homeowners is that there are a lot of potential roadblocks
mhm.
that need to be crossed, and so to do that heavy lift for them, I think is actually really wise that you guys got ahead of that. And I think I think there's more things like that that will continue to show, hey, how do we all learn at the same time so
Right.
that this doesn't feel like such a heavy lift, or there's so many different questions that people have. And so to take that first step off the plate, if they're looking to get help, is awesome. And we're thankful for that. um
Mhm.
One of the follow-ups kind of that I have in my head from that is like, you mentioned surrounding areas as well, and obviously you guys are working closely with the city of Boulder, but when you look at the festival lodging program, how do you see that being beneficial for surrounding communities to Boulder itself?
Yeah, I think naturally it is going to expand beyond Boulder. Obviously, our first priority is to ensure that we can kind of fill up Boulder because that is where the festival footprint is, and a lot of attendees do like to be as close to be lodged as close to the footprint as possible.
Yeah.
However, people are looking for different experiences too. So we know that there are naturally going to be people that are wanting to stay in our nearby surrounding communities too. So our team is working closely with other destination marketing organizations in the surrounding communities, and even with those that don't have a destination marketing organization like us, which
Yeah.
is Visit Boulder or Visit Longmont or something like that.
Yeah.
We're working closely with the cities or the municipalities in those areas to just see what they need in order to kind of feel like they're prepared for this as well. And I know several of the surrounding communities are considering passing a similar type of ordinance like the city of Boulder did to have a
Yeah.
special festival rental license for their short-term rentals as well.
Yeah, and we're seeing that. I know City of Louisville has that on their city council agenda next week.
Yeah.
I know Lafayette's got something in the works to add to their normal short-term rental license. And you know, I continue to be hopeful that all entities that are in Boulder County at least will continue to try to figure out ways to make this less difficult
Hmm.
for this moment. And
Right.
I think it's really fair for some of the counties and the cities to not want to feel like they lose control, and now there's a ton of short-term rentals forever at
Totally.
all times of the year.
Yeah.
But I do think there is precedent, and I know you guys have talked to different entities around the country about the complications of running a big event in
Hmm.
a non-resort town.
Right.
And so, I think as much as everyone can sort of, not just humans, see this as a
Mhm.
community effort, but also the municipalities, the counties, all those things, to be able to make this a good thing for everyone involved, and not make somebody that is like, our cities are so close now that it's like you literally could be across the street neighbors, and I get to do this through this easier way, and my way is more difficult or not allowed at all.
Right.
And so it's like I think there will be continued movement there, but you
Yeah.
guys are doing a lot of the hard work for everyone, and I'm very thankful for that.
Well, yeah, thank you. And one thing I'll add to all of that is we are working really closely with the city of Boulder and often talk with them about how things are going and what types of things they're seeing as people apply for these licenses. And one thing I'll just add in here as we talk about the surrounding community topic is that the city of Boulder is seeing several submissions coming in from people who are outside of the city of Boulder. So I'll just state that as a clarifying point here that double check that your home is located inside of the city of Boulder if you are going to apply for the city of Boulder
Yeah.
festival rental license. If not, then double check your municipality's short-term rental license regulations and go that route to apply for your license. Yeah, that's the only
It's
point
good
I'll add there.
clarification, honestly,
Yeah,
because I think a lot of us don't always know.
yeah,
There's little pockets. So,
totally.
um, let's jump into the next topic I kind of want to discuss, which is pricing.
Yeah.
I think there's so many, like, some of the hurdles are, if I don't want to self-manage, who should I work with? And you
Hmm.
guys are doing a lot of the vetting to help with that. And pricing is another thing of like, does it make sense for me to put some effort in and go somewhere else to do this? And I think pricing is a complicated conversation.
Hmm.
I think resort towns have very clear moments of like, this is when it's low season, this is when it's peak season, this is what's going on here. But as a community that isn't a short-term rental community, I think the pricing conversation has become one of the most interesting things I've been a part of sort of navigating that because it's unique, it's different.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so as you guys have been learning alongside not just me, but everyone in this, how would you speak to giving people some ideas of how to think about what is correct in pricing?
Yeah. It is. It's a really tricky topic. And I think the thing I'll start with first is that, one of our mottos that we kind of keep putting out there is hosting with heart. So um, we really want people to just think about this from more of that long-term perspective and not just like, how much money can I make this first year? Because although, yes, it is a high demand time frame and, yes, it's a time where you can make some money, but at the same time, if this first year we see that there's the prices are too high, then people are going that's going to set a precedent for that, and people are going to just start looking at surrounding communities more and Boulder less if that's what they continue to see. And we really, really want to drive people to stay in or as close to Boulder as possible because we want our local businesses to benefit from this. We want people to go out to eat next to where they're staying and all of those pieces. So if our pricing is too high from the beginning, it's just going to send people further and further away from Boulder, and we won't reap those economic benefits that we're hoping for as a community from this, and as well as just like this festival is such a special festival. It's so just intimate, and you have such unique experiences in seeing some of these films that it's really part of a bigger mentality of like, let's show everyone how warm and welcoming Boulder is, and that yeah, that we have this mentality of hosting with heart, that we care about those that are coming to see this festival, the filmmakers that have worked really hard to make these incredible films, and for them to come from maybe a different country to come see their film in Boulder, like it just there's already so many other expenses for them in this that are not covered by anyone else other than themselves, that we just want to make it yeah accessible and enjoyable for everybody. So
Yeah. One of the things I created a couple years back in the bigger conversation with homeowners that were taking a home for maybe 5 years of a hope of let's rent it out, let's do this, how can we look at that, is one of the things I started including in that analysis was 5 years of equity growth during this time that
yeah,
were also making you some cash flow.
right,
And I think one of the things that really is true for everyone that is a homeowner in this conversation is Sundance being in Boulder over a long period of time has more benefit to you than just what you make
yeah,
during that 2 week period
totally.
from a financial standpoint. And I don't know exactly all the things. We're
Hmm.
not going to promise that it's like, hey guys, all of our real estate will go up a crazy percentage when you want to
Right,
sell because of this being such a cool part of the conversation of living in Boulder.
right.
But I would also say just having, I want to say it's like over $150 million of economic impact coming in during this festival
A year, yeah,
across the board every year
yeah,
in a month when we usually are all kind of hibernating,
right.
licking our wounds from the holidays and the spend that we did there. Like that's going to have an impact on all of your neighbors and all
Hmm.
of the businesses they're trying to get off the ground. And I think long term the pricing conversation is important to not, you know, ignore, but I
Right,
think it's also there are other intrinsic benefits that this will bring to homeowners, not only in the city of Boulder, but beyond. And so
Definitely.
I think that is an addition of like heart and a long-term head
Yeah,
space of like hosting with it. It's not just right here, but it's a longer conversation outside of
exactly.
that. So it's tough though, because
Right.
when you're renting your primary home, which is a lot of the conversations we're
Yeah.
in, you kind of like, I don't know if I am comfortable with this. I don't know if I have to do a lot of work, and so
Mhm.
it's
It
I
has to
get
be
it.
worth it.
I get it. But I
Yeah,
also think there's a balance and there's a
has
line
to
to
be.
walk that makes sense. And there's things that are like, oh, that's I don't know anywhere that has made that amount of money for a 2 week period
Yeah.
for any
Right.
reason. And
Right.
so anyway,
Yeah, so I
it
guess
makes
to
sense.
kind of piggyback off of all of that, if people are, if we recommend, like, if you're going to work with a property manager, they'll give you good advice on this pricing conversation. Obviously, all the property managers are also trying to figure out what the best pricing structure is, and it's all based on your home and your amenities and your location and all of those different pieces. But um, if you're self-managing, we have put out a resource on our website that is a pricing guide.
I'm glad
It's
you brought
really
that up.
just that. It's a very basic guide that kind of gives numbers that are broken down by length of stay as well as like how many rooms you have in your house. So it's really just some numbers to get you started, and then you obviously have to build off of that based on the amenities and the location and all of that for your home or your property. But we wanted to give you a place to start because we know that it's, nobody knows like where what kind of number should I even consider here. So we gave
Totally.
some ranges on that sheet, and that is located on our Visit Boulder website under the Rent Your Home page. So you can find more information there. But yeah, as some other kind of guidelines go, I guess thinking about, a typical January, and then the fact that this is a special festival. We're used to having CU graduation, so we kind of typically see higher prices during that time frame as well. But we say really you shouldn't be going beyond 50% higher than what a regular January night would be at your home. So I don't know. I don't take it or
No,
leave it, but
yeah. I mean, look, we're here to learn from what you guys are doing. Whether people follow those guidelines or not is completely up to them. But I
yeah,
appreciate you guys doing the work to have put that sheet together that gives some guidance
yeah,
and putting some of those things out there. So thank you, because it's hard.
yeah.
It is hard, you know.
It's hard.
So on to the next sort of idea of like, okay, I've sort of figured out what I'm thinking about doing and doing this and pricing. Where would you say are the best places for people to uh, get visibility for their homes
Yeah.
out in the marketplace? And what are you guys kind of advising people to be tapping into?
Yeah, well, right now I think and we really are encouraging people, if you're ready, like if you're taking these steps, you're getting your license, you're preparing your home and you're ready to list your home, list it now. That's really what we're pushing for, because there are so many people that are already looking now for housing, for lodging for the festival. So the sooner you list it, the better for everybody, just because we need that inventory now, and we want to see it out there. We want to have options for people who are looking now. And so, you know, I think right now listing on Airbnb or VRBO are those typical sites that people are used to going to book lodging at is a really good place to start. That's what the general attendee is used to doing, is just, finding those on sites like Airbnb or VRBO. So starting there, and we're still building this program, and there are still so many pieces that are coming together, and the listing features are part of that. So I would just say stay tuned to for more information from us as Visit Boulder and the Sundance Film Festival on other places that will be available to list, because those are being worked on at the moment. So there will be more options, but right now we do have a where to stay page on our Visit Boulder website, and it lists not only all of our property management companies that we're partnering with, so you can find listings through each of their either websites, or if they're connected to Airbnb, you'll find them there. But then we're also just linking to Airbnb and VRBO's Boulder and surrounding area listings as well from that page, so that people can just go straight to, those locations, the Boulder locations on each of those sites, through that where to stay page. So we're consolidating all of that information as much as we can and listing it all in that place, but it is still being built, and there will be more options for homeowners to list their home coming soon.
Awesome. I also agree with all of what you just said. Like
Great.
that's what that's what we do in our normal everyday business, and as the festival continues to be a thing, there might be some other things that crop up that make that slightly different, or in addition to, not different. But we sort of talked about licensing a little bit earlier, but I'm curious if you can give a little bit of a clarification of the difference of the two licenses that are eligible in the city of Boulder to be able to short-term rent during this time period. And then I think you kind of did a good enough job talking about what's going to council tonight for tenant, or having two licenses simultaneously. But I'm seeing people interested in both as I'm going out and talking to people. But can you kind of give some clarification of the difference between the two short-term options?
Yeah, and I'm not the expert on the licenses.
I
The
get it.
city knows much more of the ins and outs, but I will say that I know the main thing that I feel like makes the difference between these two is that it no longer, under the new festival rental license, it doesn't have to be your primary residence. So, and if you have an ADU, or a vacation home or things like that, then you now are eligible to rent those out. Whereas under the regular short-term rental license, you wouldn't have been able to do that. So I'll just call that one out as there's other like smaller differences between them, and I would just kind of recommend piecing those out on the City of Boulder website. You can kind of compare them side by side. They even have a chart, I believe, on their website that compares the two. So go look and see, yeah, maybe still doing the regular short-term rental license makes sense for you. Especially if you're thinking, hey, if I'm going to prepare my home, for the Sundance Film Festival anyway, then maybe there's one or two other times in the year that I want to rent my home out, in Boulder. So maybe that regular short-term rental license is best for you. But if you're thinking, nope, I only want to do this once a year, then that festival rental license is probably going to be the best fit too. So
Yeah, and I think that is good clarification to say, like, the only people that can consider one or the other is if it's your primary home.
yes, right.
But if you have a place that is furnished otherwise, and you're ready to, but you're not living there as your primary, the festival license is what is available for you to consider. And so I think that is interesting, and I say we're seeing people choose one or the other, and I think there'll be a lot of people who choose one maybe for year one, and then sort of see what the effort was to leave their home and might do another. But I think I would say the easiest path is the festival license.
Yeah.
And right now, and this is sort of leading to the next question I want to ask you, is like, the easiest path might be the best choice in this moment. And so what are you seeing, if people are listening today, if they're listening to us later, but hopefully it's in the near future they're listening.
Yeah.
What should homeowners be doing now?
Right. Yeah, I think it's number one, looking into the festival short-term rental license as well as the regular short-term rental license, reading through those and seeing which ones, or if both, you qualify for, and then choosing which one you want to apply for, and go ahead and submit your application now. It does take a little bit of time for the city to review that and for them to kind of take the steps to eventually approve that. And they'll have conversations back and forth with you. If you don't meet an initial requirement or something, they'll kind of work with you to see what you need to do to meet those requirements. As long as it's not like something big, like it's not your primary residence or something. But I know that one thing they've mentioned that keeps coming up in those reviews is that it is important that you have 2 local contacts that you're listing. So let's say it is a vacation home for you, and you don't live in Boulder, or you don't typically, you're not typically around here in Boulder. You do have to have 2 local contacts, whether it's a neighbor or a friend or a property manager, something like that, that you list on your application as your local contact. So I know that's been holding up a couple of the applications, and then just making sure you pay the fee and then they issue it after all of those pieces are complete. So taking that step, making sure that it's approved by your HOA, and if it's not approved by your HOA, then there is someone who's actually contracted by the state of Colorado. Her name is Jill Grano, and she is well known in Boulder, and I know you can reach out to me or Ross, and we can provide her contact information. She's happy to share her contact information because she is working on that piece specifically, trying to help people who are living in HOA communities that are more restrictive around short-term rentals, to see if there are ways of adjusting those bylaws for the Sundance Film Festival specifically. So that's all kind of a component you'll have to consider if you are in an HOA, but do look into that and reach out to Jill and kind of take those steps as well. After all of those pieces are kind of complete, then just making sure you're starting to prepare your home. And, we'll put out even more resources on our website about things that you can do to do that. But working with a property manager is going to make that process a lot easier for you, because they help walk you through all of those different steps. So I highly recommend that piece as well. And then once you feel like your home is ready, photographing it and getting it listed as soon as possible, so that your home is out there and ready for all of the people that are looking now, like I said earlier. And I know right now there's a lot of corporate sponsors or just corporations who are trying to find housing because they have to house larger groups of people. So they're looking for what's available now because they know that they need to have enough lodging for all of their staff. So
and I would sort of jump in a little bit on the getting it ready. Is like there is a value to getting photos taken and getting a listing going, even if you still have a renovation and a bathroom going on.
Right.
Because I think people want to see the overall idea of what the home is. And as long as what you provide by the time people live there is better than the photos,
Right.
or once the renovation's done, take some supplementary photos to get the listing more accurate. Your house does not have to be move-in ready to take photos.
Yeah.
Take an initial round, get something out there, and then, as maybe you leave to have your first rental, maybe there's some supplementary photography you do there, and then you sort of have the complete listing forever. I know that the need to have the house photo ready is really holding a lot of people back to being ready now.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a way to be creative about that and be smart about that, while also being transparent and honest about what the house is actually going to be, not hiding things that you're going to just leave alone and not deal with it, and it affects the guest experience.
Exactly. Yeah, we want you to be able to get it listed early, but we of course want the experience for the guests at the end of the day to be as great as it can be. Because especially this first year, it's like this is all representing Boulder as a whole and the experience for the Sundance Film Festival here in Boulder for the first time. So we want that to be as good as it can be. So do be transparent, but I like what you said, Ross, about like in order to get it listed now, you'll still have lots of time to prepare your home between now and then. But do what you can now to get it listed as soon as you can.
Well, we've had a very engaged group. I'm just looking at our
Awesome.
questions over here, and I think we're kind of done with
Yeah.
the meat of what we wanted to discuss today. But I want to choose. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to get to every question. I'm just letting the people know. But I want to get a few questions that I feel like you're uniquely more capable than me to answering. And so one of them is simply, is unincorporated Boulder under the jurisdiction of the licensing?
Yeah, that's a great question because that is one I keep getting emailed to me. No, it is unincorporated Boulder County has its own short-term rental license that you'll find on Boulder County's website. So it the City of Boulder festival rental license will not be the one that you would apply for if you're in Boulder, unincorporated Boulder County.
Yep. I think a lot of people, that's been a hard understanding, and so
Yeah.
I would encourage, if you are in unincorporated Boulder County, I think just like anything else, sending an email to somebody over at the county and saying,
Mhm.
hey, we're really wanting to be a part of this and help with what's going on. Is there any thoughts of launching a similar program for the county resident?
Yeah.
I mean, county residents means like everyone, but
Yeah.
for unincorporated Boulder County
Yeah.
homes. So
Right.
I think, I know that's something I'm continuing to try to find the right ears to bend, um,
Yep.
for the people we're helping. Um, one of the So this question, I think I'm reading it correctly. If we self-manage, do you still add us to your referrals participants when it comes to like Visit Boulder and stuff? I don't even know if that's really exactly how it's working with us of the property managers that are part of it, but I think kind of clarifying like how people get in front of interested
Yes.
renters.
Yeah. Totally. And that is, yeah, I'll answer your question by saying yes. There will be opportunities to get in front of the guest if you're not represented by a property manager, um, outside of just Airbnb and VRBO. And that's what I kind of alluded to earlier. There are going to be other listing sites that are focused on the Sundance Film Festival, that will list not only the properties that are all under the property manager's umbrella, but anyone who's self-managing a property will be able to list their home this way as well. So I won't say too much more than that because, like I said, still building that piece out at the moment. It should be released pretty soon. But yes, there will be more opportunities to get in front of the Sundance Film Festival attendee audience.
Well, there's lots of other questions. A lot of them are more property management uh, free. So I think I want to close our time today.
Okay.
I might stay on a little bit longer and just answer those so
Yeah.
that it's out into the world, but not bore you with it, because there's a lot of them.
Okay.
But I think really the meat of what this is like Sundance is bringing 85 to 120,000 people to our town.
Yeah.
And that's going to create a really fun and interesting cultural and economic impact on everyone in the surrounding communities.
Yeah.
Um, but we kind of need the local community to decide to help
Yeah.
by opening their homes. And
We do.
and so if people want to learn more about the Festival Lodging Program in Sundance, where would you tell them to go?
Yeah, I'm just gonna make it simple for you because I know there's a lot of places you can go to find little detailed pieces of information, but I think our website is pretty comprehensive, of most of the
Agreed.
information that you would really need as the homeowner. So I'll just say you can come to, Visit Boulder's website, which is bouldercoloradousa.com, and we have a rent your home page under our Sundance Film Festival menu item that has all of that information detailed for you. It even breaks it down by like, this is the type of living situation I'm in. What does that mean for me? We have it kind of broken down so that it
Yeah.
makes it easy for you to find information related to your specific situation. But then we also list all of those steps that you can take, as well as all of our approved property management partners, and my contact information, so you can reach out to me via email. So I think that's, I can connect you from there, but I think that's the one place I'll say that you should go to learn more information. So
Love it. Well, Hannah, I've enjoyed getting to know you over these last few months. I think you should be commended for all the hard work and many hours on this special project you're putting in on top of your normal responsibilities at Visit Boulder. And so, thank you so much for giving us your time today. I think as much as we can be continuing to produce education to help people navigate this,
yeah.
the more the better.
Well, yeah, thank
You know,
you
we're
for
we're
for
actually
hosting
gonna
this.
interview Jill, who you
Yeah,
mentioned, I think next week,
great.
to talk about some of the things that she's uniquely helping with HOAs and beyond, and so we're just really thankful for all the hard work you're doing, and appreciate that you're going to be doing a lot more as we make our way to year one and beyond.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate you guys hosting this. And yeah, I agree. It's really important information to get out there. So thank you for taking the step to do that. And I will jump off so that you can kind of finish up here.
Thanks so much, Hannah.
All right.
Have a
Thank
great
you
day.
guys. All right. Bye.
Bye. Well, what a gem. What a gem Hannah Button is. And, I appreciate all of you who are watching online and giving thoughts. And so if you didn't ask a question and you don't want to listen to me go through questions, you can hop off now. But I'm going to go through a few of these, and I think some of them are very simple answers. But appreciate all of you for tuning in today. I hope this was helpful. Um, we had a question that's, has Louisville approved any type of permitting yet? The answer is no, but it will be happening next week. If you want to engage in a positive level, you could go to a council meeting on April 7th, Tuesday night at City Building here in Louisville. Somebody asked, if you come to my home to assess, what should I do to prepare my home to maximize rental income? When we've come into homes and looked, we're really looking at the bones of things and advising those little things you can change to maximize your rent revenue. But the biggest thing is having clean, everything be clean, and not for necessarily the assessment, but for guests, and as many humans as you can host comfortably is better. And I would say there are some types of common areas with couches and like fold out couches and stuff that can help in that, but people they're wanting to be in a bedroom. And I think this isn't necessarily like a huge bring the whole family to Sundance kind of event, even though I think there will be some children. But I think it is adults who want their space, and so they want something that's comfortable. What if we want to self-manage? My attitude is I think anyone can do this if they take the proper steps to think about what it means to be a good host. And so there's lots of information out there to help you understand how to get your house in a good place to make it feel welcoming. But I don't, if I'm reading it a little bit correctly, of like, are there insights to Sundance and Visit Boulder that you also can have? I, I, I don't I don't feel as a property management company that all of the people who are working with us have this inside track to people outside of Airbnb, VRBO. There will be some of that, but I don't know exactly how that's going to work in this moment. And so if you're self-managing, I would say the Airbnb VRBO route is your safest route to find guests, or make relationships. Find out who people are, and if you find out somebody who wants to be here, that is also a great way to do it. There's a few questions kind of about insurance on your home when the festival's going on, and that's another great thing that Airbnb and VRBO provide, is host insurance when a place gets booked through them. I also think it's smart to go and speak with your current insurance representative and tell them what it is you're doing and what kind of policy that you can add. Somebody asked, are property management companies also providing insurance? And I would say we provide more assurance than insurance, meaning we know what we're doing, we know how to accommodate a stay, and so we are maybe more uniquely able to make people happy and treat the homes well, and be able to know what to look at in reviews and different things to make sure that we're getting the kind of group that makes sense for that home. And so, but there's not an insurance policy that a property management company is providing to each individual house, when you do this. Somebody asked about Denver. I think Denver has some potential, just like the surrounding communities right outside of Boulder. But that is a tough thing to know what is going to come that way. And I don't think the city of Denver is moving on any sort of festival lodging license idea at this time. And so it would have to qualify for their short-term rental license situation if you're going to do that. So I think Denver's probably more of a wait and see than it is a run out and do this. I don't really have much more insight there. The list for property management companies that have been vetted by Visit Boulder is, I think, this question: where is that located? I would go to Visit Boulder's website and type in Festival Lodging Program, and you should be able to find the page for that pretty easily. I think there's about 6 to 8 property management companies listed at this time. Will Sundance have a where to stay for rooms to rent for self-referrals? At this time, it does not look like that is the case of how Sundance has operated at Park City. And so I don't think that is happening. And then the last question I have is, do you recommend a security deposit? We do this all the time with properties, all over, from South Denver to Longmont, and we have found that in the short-term rental world, adding in a security deposit makes people hesitant to book. And so you can, especially if you're self-managing, we will not do that with our homes, because we have found that the programs and insurance coverages that those websites have in place have been tools that we've been able to use successfully to help people when a bad situation takes place. You're more than welcome. All those websites have an ability to say X amount security deposit when you book, but as more and more availability comes up, I think people will not book places that have security deposit, in my experience. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying it's an obstacle you're putting in people's way. So I think that's most of what's there. I apologize if I missed one of your questions. There were a few that seemed somewhat similar, between what Hannah answered and what I just answered, but I just appreciate all of you that you're trying to find more and more information and figure out if this makes sense for you. The need is huge, and the time is now, I think, is the things that I'm hearing over and over again as we navigate this alongside homeowners, and as we continue to talk to our connections at the city and the state and Sundance. They really would like more and more homes to become available as soon as possible. So anything that we can do to provide help in kind of getting over those last few hurdles, those last few obstacles to being able to say, yeah, this is what I want to do. Please don't hesitate to reach out and ask us those questions, whether you're using us or using one of the other property management companies or self-managing. Helping you get past those last few obstacles, I think, is important to kind of move forward. So Anyway, thanks so much for logging in. Appreciate you guys, and I think we've got another one of these next week with Jill Grano, who's working alongside the governor's office. So look forward to that, and we continue to help navigate this fairly complicated first year of doing something different in our town. So appreciate y'all. We'll see you next week.